I told you in our interview, that's why it's an honor to be able to have you on the show, and then obviously come here in person, meet you, come to your house, because you're never going to get this kind of knowledge on these people, and like you said, the truth as close as you can get.
The closer your perspective to the truth. What is justice? The truth, finding the truth. Any reasonable person that isn't a blowjob, tell you that. I don't curse, but I agonized at how to explain this corporeal mass. It's without soul. It's blood, it's bone, it's a seething, demonic, evil existence. And now it's trying to recreate itself in the minds of the healthy. It's a subliminal pedophile. For the naive or children. That's what you saw. Even better, subliminal pedophiles. That's the best word I have to describe you. I don't know about the rest of you. Let me tell you something. There are no medals for doing the right thing. But the firing squad for doing the wrong is how I believe. And I've faced my own firing squad. But not at the hands of blowjobs. You ain't got a shot. Not a snowball's chance in hell.
One of the greatest quotes I ever heard was, "There's no trophies for being a real one, just the scars."
Yeah. Yes. So, you parents out there, I'm why I do the podcast with the gambling, because I know the pitfalls of gambling and the things to trap for. I want the kids to know the truth, not the marketing in the phones, not the fanfare of the games, that they could end up. An alcoholic, you can see it. You see he has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you know he needs help. A drug addict, you can see it, an addiction. Gambling's an addiction to them. By making it legal, there's a lot of people with the addictive gene that they're pushing into it. So with education is how you diffuse these things. You know who said that? Joseph Colombo Sr. You know why? He wasn't like you guys. He cared about the future, and so do I. And in the afterlife, I will look any human being in the eye. Because I never messed with anybody's family, anybody's money, anybody's women, anybody's children. If I did, I should get what I deserve. And I wouldn't have a complaint, but I'd never do it. Because I take responsibility for my actions. And we are supposed to be reasonable, means to reason. And I can't find any reason that you showboat killing 19 people. How many families you destroyed? And the other guy, I don't know. And that podcast, what's his name? I can't remember his name. I think he had a lobotomy, right? I feel bad for him.
Martinez?
Yeah, didn't he have a lobotomy?
I don't think so.
No?
He may have.
Yeah. Well, he could be the poster boy for one. He thinks he's achieved the greatness. I'm better being interviewed than interviewing because I don't like to stick my nose in anybody's business. But if you ask me, I'll tell you the truth. And before I will defame or hurt any human being for my own gain, I'm going to say nothing. That's the reason I haven't done my father's story to date. Because I will never hurt the living or desecrate the dead. But if you want to write history, write it the way it happened. And forget about this. And I didn't even monetize our show. And when we do, it's going to go to charity.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me? And I did it for Anthony, works for me. You're going to interview him in a few minutes. You come, you see how I live and who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Not an invitation, you guys. But if you take umbrage, please be that man you say you are. I'm going to say it again. I'm not inviting you. But my doors are open. Because I'm tired of the cops kicking them down. My father had very nice doors put on. I couldn't find the pieces, so I just leave the doors open. So, no, really, there's no social graces. They didn't have to use those battering rams, helicopters, machine guns, 180 agents. Because of my dog.
Could have just knocked you to let him in.
Yeah, it was nice. I said, take anything you want, just don't leave. Not that I ordered pizza and donuts. It was very nice. I'm cordial.
You ordered pizza when the cops kicked your door?
Yeah, they got to eat. They're doing their job, but they do. It's not personal. So anyway, what was I doing? They had guns. I had a pencil. I'm writing bets. Now just remember, knowledge and what you put in people's minds there's an obligation. And if you're going to spread it, and that's what my problem with the Godfather Harlem, it's causing racial distension. Joseph Colombo Sr. hated drugs. Thought it would destroy the children. He predicted what was happening. He was ahead of his time in a lot of ways. You watch him on the video, pinning the kid, pills. You know, who was talking about pills in 71? Who puts a handicap pool in for children? For 2,000 underprivileged kids to get them out of the thing. No grants, no anything. That bullshit that he took money. Come on. It's blowjobs say that. So anyway, but just remember when you say that, that's what you should look as vision yourself as being. There's an obligation to tell the truth and be a human being. And there's nothing that men can't talk about. And the things these people are talking about and they're glorifying are not good things. And you got that with the lobotomy guy. What's his name?
Martinez.
Oh, Martinez. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised. Hispanic people are very God-loving. My nieces and nephews are Hispanic. My brother married Hispanic. Very good people. Very, very religious people. Very family-oriented people. What happened to you, Adrian? All right? You have an obligation to tell the truth. You want to make yourself a name for peddling smut, lies, it's off the blood of other people. That's how you look at it. No matter how you twist it, how you turn it, these people lived off the blood of other people. And when it came time for them to take responsibility for their actions, they took a safety valve. And that's why they behaved the way they did. Sammy was always an asset. I'll say it now, and I'll say it to the day I die. And I think Ubats was too. Ubats, who calls themselves? I'm Sally Ubats. You're a moron. A buffoon is the proper word. You want to turn it on me? Joe Colombo stood tall. He went to his death knowing he was going for his people. What did you do? You ruined your family. You ruined your family name. And now you're back on the internet and you want to peddle being Judas? Cutting people's testicles up and then making it up? Do you think that is your legacy? What is wrong with you? And the people don't see it. Boycott. You people have a say. Don't listen to it. It's ridiculousness. And like I said, if you are what you say you are, the pool table right here, Ubats. Let's see if you can get me on that table. And I do have a real pair of balls. And everything else that goes with it. You better bring an army. This still ain't enough. Because you're a misfit. You're a predator. And now that you can't figure out, you've exhausted every possibility not to infuse drugs into children, put people in jail because of your own sickness, because you're a coward, that you don't even want to pay your debt. Sammy not once apologized to them 19 families. Plus. And don't ever talk about my brothers again, Sammy, because you're a piece of garbage. You're not a man of honor. You're not a chess player. You're a coward. Say what you want about Johnny did his time. He lived his life like a man. The rest I can't speak for because I don't know. But Sally Ubats knows. Misfit. You can't get the dates right. You can't get the timelines right. You don't even know that Joe Brancato didn't have anybody in his house. And tell me the reason. And you want to talk about Vinny Loy? What was his nickname? Tell me. Let me hear it. Because you don't know. You're trying to build a fanfare on men, and you're not. Vinny Loy did 14 years like a man. He didn't destroy his family.
You mentioned a second ago that you felt and always have felt that Sammy was an asset. What
Yes.
do you mean by that?
Sammy had a very long run to a lot of things. COINTELPRO division of the FBI, like Greg Scarpa, mostly like Whitey Bulger, like Joe Messina, I believe, were assets. This has been proven and he exists. And I'm not knocking the FBI, a great organization. This country needs them. But this particular one, to violently disrupt and kill Martin Luther King and try to get him to kill himself, and it goes on. And that's who killed my father. There's no doubt. But I'm not anti-American. I'm not anti-government. I'm not anti-FBI. But abuse of power needs to be checked. And they have people like these screaming, squirming, little sniveling, what do they call them? Rats. Rats.
Rats.
I don't even want to give an animal the name. I mean, I like rats better than it. I mean, at least it's a creature of God. I don't know what these are, abominations. And why they're abominations, they don't take responsibility for their actions. They have no empathy, no compassion. Now, people take mistakes. I always said the only time I was ever perfect is when I was a perfect asshole that came to me. We all say things we wish we didn't. We do things we wish we didn't. But a pattern of lying, murdering, and stealing, and then trying to blame it on Cosa Nostra or whatever, you're a blowjob.
So anti-blowjob too.
But in this
thing.
this text, yes.
Yes.
You know,
there's two different ways you can go with that.
Sammy said, and listen, Sammy, lucky I don't expound on this, but leave my brothers alone. I'm going to embarrass the hell out of you. And you know I can do it. I go back to the Rampers. I know all about them. Okay? My main point is this. There's nothing wrong with homosexuality if that's who you are. If I was in love with that poster, that's what turned me on. If those ain't a kid, handicap challenge, you treat women the right way is not wrong. So that as in a blowjob, it's not the context of sexual. These people don't have sex. They're subliminal pedophiles. They are mentally, emotionally, and physically toxic. They spew lies. Then when it comes time to pay the band, they don't come up with the money. They're blowjobs. That's the only word, and I think it's fitting, and I'm going to say it repeatedly because it's true. And I agonized on your way from here to South Carolina about what I was going to say, and I watched these people, and English called them because I call them buffoons. They are. When you get on this thing, whatever you call it, the internet, it's a reference of knowledge. You're lying. And you're lying with an agenda to make yourself out to be something you're not, and to hide what you are, and to glorify what people shouldn't be. I don't think it's wrong to cooperate, but cooperate on yourself and take all the time if that's what you feel is right. Otherwise, there's an agenda. We know what that is. Being a blowjob. And I have too much love for my religion, my country, to ever, at my family, my children, I couldn't look in the eyes. And let me tell you something. If I would have never gone, I would have cut them loose. Forget me. Go on with your lives. God gave you good ones. I'm not poisoning it. So to say that you looked out and you saw your children, oh, I would have done time, the electric chair, torture for my country, my children, my God. Because that's what's important to me. You got it? And anybody that sees it any differently should really seek some kind of help. And if this is what tickles your fancy, they are in the same group as a pedophile because they're mentally and emotionally planting horrible things in their head. They are subliminal, emotional, mental pedophiles. Yes, they are. A mass murderer getting up there trying to say he was an honorable guy, it's a blowjob. I don't ever mention my brothers and where they are and my father because they were in jail doing their time, something you didn't do. And then you put your kids in a case. You're a blowjob. And well, I'm hard to sneak. Like I said, it's not an invitation. You want ubats. Come out. If you feel that you're that much of a man, don't get on this thing and talk about it. Come and face me. You're a blowjob.
I don't think we could be any more clear, my friend.
I have no fear of death because I'll meet my Lord and my Maker and look him in the eyes, and I have an explanation. Use better grasp to whatever life you have because it's not going to be good on the other side. And I've seen it. And I guarantee you, my father's waiting for you. Call him a buffoon then. And you can take that crazy stick in your pipe and smoke it or stick it in the fucking junk you gave kids and put it in your arms. You're the worst form of fucking scum there is. Because the way I love my children, you don't think other people love their children? Did you look out when you were dealing junk and say, look at those children? On a street level? Did you do that? You didn't sell it to your kids. Maybe you might give it to them because maybe they'll be so anesthetized they don't realize what you have. So if you don't like what I say, do something about it. You're going to keep running your mouth, you just look like a blowjob. You want to play Russian roulette with me? I'll play. Leave it to God. My balls are strapped on tight. I don't have to make up stories about cutting off other people's. I think I'm clear on what I said.
I believe 100%. Crystal.
Go help an elderly person, a challenged person, work with children, do something like that. That's why I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let's get to the lighter side of things. Would you agree with what I said? I know I belabored the point, but I think podcasters have an obligation to tell the truth. I think that these people are being glorified, and they're not even in the mezzanine. They're not the first row, they're not second row. These are people standing outside of Yankee Stadium trying to watch the game.
Right. And I think that, and I can speak from experience, you do run in, you're going to cross paths with people that have cooperated. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't
Listen,
have them
bother
on
me.
there.
These guys are bothering me.
Huh? Talking about them?
Those two, yeah.
Yeah,
What are
police.
you talking about? Let's tell the truth.
Yeah. Well, that was my point is, people can come on here if they did cooperate or whatever. That's them. They got to answer for that. They got to live that life. But, there are people that have done that and come on and told the truth.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm talking about
yeah.
bots and
right.
Sammy the bullshit.
Yeah. But that's what I'm
And I
saying.
don't
We got to
curse.
find the guys that
I
tell the
think
truth.
cursing was created because these two guys were born. See, subliminally, they're making me do less than what I am. Just to have you people's names on my mouth, to have my father and my brother's names on your mouth, it's disgusting. It's an abomination. It's an infirmity. It's galactically insane. That you talk like you're men. Like I said, it's not an invitation, but you failures are all that and more. I ain't going nowhere. And leave it to God. And I will play Russian roulette with you. We'll have to go somewhere I don't get pinched, but they'll figure out a gun charge or something. I mean, I have a surrogate hold that they can't get pinched, but I'm in. See if you are. Put your money where your mouth is, and let's see how crazy you are. Right now. Not 4 seconds, not 3, now. Because I've lived my life like a man. Yous have not. Not that I'm bragging about it, it's what I'm supposed to do. It's not an extra. And there's no set of circumstances. And my Rico, I don't know what was 146 people pinched underneath me. Not one flipped.
That's pretty impressive.
I would say before I would do business or talk to somebody when I leave my infant and leave the room. That's why. People could figure out a way to kill a cat. Because you would even suck the juice out of that. Because you're cowards. Let's talk about it private. Wade's here. He made a trip up from South Carolina. We started talking. I spent 10 years in Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
That's a business. I like our Southern brothers very much. I like the food. The Southern hospitality is great. I like his podcast very much. He's a good interviewer. He interviewed me. He got me heated up. He's got that way of bringing it down on me. That's a God-given gift. We talk a lot, a couple times a week on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I just like him. And, I think his podcast is straight up.
Try to be. I try to get that close to the real story as I can get. And it is hard, especially if you don't do it full time. I have another job. I do this on the side, but I still, if I'm going to do it, if you do anything in life, whatever it is, you got to do it the right way. Or you should try to do it the right way. You should strive to do it the right way. So, and I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you doing this again. And invite me to your home.
Any questions you want to ask me? Not about the blowjobs. I think we've covered that subject.
We have, I think, extensively.
If
and
it was a
pretty clear.
snowstorm, we'd have to build a snowmobile like the Ark. Right?
I am curious. You didn't really give me a clear-cut answer
Yeah.
on the question from earlier.
What's
If Netflix come to you and says we want to do a show, would you be open to do it?
When I did the offer, I volunteered my services for nothing because they didn't know about my father.
Mm.
They didn't want them. Matter of fact, the casting agent screwed up and reached out to Kevin McElwain. He asked me to play my father. They killed it right away because even once they saw the script,
Right, you're not going to go for that.
I've never seen anything as patently untrue or false. As a matter of fact, the lobotomy kid and BJ, well, let's say BJ because I really do. And anybody's watched me, you've never seen me curse. BJ and the lobotomy kid, that kid don't have a clue. Wants to be a podcaster.
You've cussed more on our 2 episodes than I've ever heard you cuss.
I don't curse. We bring up something I don't like. So anyway, it's distasteful. Not only that, I did your podcast, my podcast, and another interview on my birthday. It was a bad line day.
Yeah.
Last night was a bad line night. Don't get my faculty about me today. I can always see a BJ and a lobotomy victim. Anyway, what I liked about yours, you told the truth, and you paid dearly with your life. I didn't admit anything I did, but my lawyer, Jeremy Schneider, a fantastic lawyer, I'm not in an argument with him right now because he has a little problem with the truth himself here lately. Anyway, anybody knows me. In fact, I had a Supreme Court judge wrote me a letter saying I am truthful to a fault. And that's the truth. That's honest. I was brought up that way. You could fade and shade and change it to suit you, but at the end of the day, it walks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It swims like a duck. It's a duck. Moves like a BJ. Sounds like a BJ. Sleeps like a BJ. It's a BJ. And a lobotomy is obvious.
So if I'm picking up what you're putting down here, you would be reluctant to do anything with a bigger company
I'm not reluctant. I'm open
Netflix,
to anything, but
it's got to be the right factual timeline and story.
I didn't go to school to be a Thalberg or a writer. It's not what I do. I like reality. I like doing this because I'm educating people, kids how to gamble. I'm giving something back. Got to leave something on the table. My philosophy, it's not what you get from life, it's what you give to it. And at 62, I want to give to life. Not take from it. And I was always that way. I got a big heart. I'm known for it. So when I went to hospital, I said, you have an enlarged heart. The one doctor says, it's coming out. He has a big heart.
Your show, Taking Action with Chris Colombo.
Yes.
You're doing great. The picks are doing great.
It's not over yet. It's never over. And you're only as good as your last deal, your last eat, or your last pig. The labor to, if people are going to put their money, I take the responsibility to give them the best I can. There's an intuition I have from doing it and seeing it. It's like, not to compare myself, but if you play 6,000 baseball games and you're good at it comes natural. I'm a natural. I love the action. That's why it's called Taking Action. It wasn't about the money for me. In fact, most of it I gave away.
So we got 2 more months left before we wrap up with the Super Bowl. What else can we expect coming from Taking Action with Chris Colombo?
I stopped putting up the interviews because it was taken away from the thing and people wanted to see the gambling. So I got a lot in the can, not a prison, that's an expression for film celluloid. I have a lot of, I like to interview the best of who I can find, the people who have made contributions in their area and other areas, and hear their perspective and their point of view, and I hail them. My show is not an exploitive show. I like to throw roses, not stones. Remember, it's interesting to watch a 70-foot snake eat a 500-pound pig once. And what they're trying to do is just keep recreating nonsense. It's nonsense. John Gotti is one of the people that they just keep recreating because could somebody get creative out there? A little bit. I don't know. A little bit. So that's what I see. I don't understand how murdering 19 people makes you an expert on the government. What?
Maybe we'll have to finesse them.
Finesse them. They had what he needed. They had an agenda, and he had his. They were there. And the innocent people who got killed were casualties of a war that shouldn't be.
What do you think that says about the government, though, that they accepted that just to get John?
No, my personal belief was, I don't know anything about this area, but he was number two. The original number two got blown up with a guy he was doing business with, and he slid into that position. And he's on none of those tapes, and they knew about that secret apartment. According to what the government says, John was, he was emphatic on people coming. So I think that's why Sammy was so mad. He didn't get to be McNamara, leader of the band. And John was being targeted, and Frankie Locascio was also a man was being targeted. So Sammy and the government, that not the government. Listen, our government is the greatest government in the world, and the only thing we're entitled to, and our only entitlement as an American citizen, is that Constitution, and we should hold it, grasp it, pay attention to it, and we should hold government accountable.
That is a very interesting point that you just brought up, because that has been publicized that John allegedly liked to have people come to him to, check in, daily talks or whatever. Now, you did see a lot of him and Sammy walking in the street.
Yeah, but he was never in the apartment. How'd they know about it?
Exactly.
And Sammy was just mad that John talked about him.
Right. And I've never really looked at it like that until you just said it. That is very interesting. And he's not on any of those tapes. So Sammy was the only one that didn't go to that apartment.
He went around murdering 19 people and they don't know his name. They just want John.
So Sammy's the only one that didn't go to that apartment.
Right.
And he's
what a guy that was emphatic about having people there. That's why he was ranting and raving about it.
That is an interesting take on it.
Not interesting, it's the truth.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That needs to be what is interesting to people instead of the fabrications.
Listen. Most powerful tool a man has, or a woman, or a child, or any human being, let's call us human beings, it's not categorizes, is our mind. To be reasonable, to be able to weigh things out. Weigh it out any way you want. Guy murdered 19 people for profit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a man of honor. He's a blowjob. And like I said, it's not an invitation. But if you are this man of honor, I'm telling you, you and everything you represent is evil. And if you don't like it, don't get on a podcast. Come and do something about it. You just know how to walk outside the wild side.
Well, I think that about does it, my friend. You happy with it?
The truth.
Yeah.
It's not how I feel. It's what is. As a human being with an obligation to protect the memory and the true memory of those that have passed and not desecrate the dead. Like he says, I'll dig them up and I'll shoot them 41 times. Have I said stupid things? Yeah. Do I get on a podcast and want to pollute people and say that? Come on. Guy passed and he's dead because he had something you wanted. And he was your friend. Killed your partner. You set up your whole gang, the Rampers. Come on, stop. And you know I know. My brother's name's out for your mouth. And you and BJ and Labata our marriage made it happen. The church should really, and they should have an ordinance that these two should get married. Lobotomizers and BJs that are subliminal pedophiles. And when they were there, they poisoned children with narcotics. Twist it any way you want. Make it this way, make it that way. That's what they do. That's who they are. And all this is sauce for the goose. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it again. The only time I was ever perfect was when I was a perfect asshole, and that always came easy. I made my mistakes in life. I've said, God knows, the Lyme disease is like Tourette's. I go off on tirades. You got to hear the things I say. My kids laugh. But I'm really mad I don't say anything. And I'm not mad at these people. I pity them. Who I'm upset with is the audience should hold them accountable and not put these comments. Change the channel. Go ahead already. What do you want to watch? That's what you want to empower? I don't empower negativity. And they're evil.
I think that about makes it clear, man. There's not much left to say on this subject.
Even in South Carolina?
Whereabouts?
It's clear in South Carolina. Anything? I love South Carolina.
I do too.
I love Clemson too. We got to get rid of that kudzu though.
Yeah, it's taking over, man. It's
taking over.
Of it. So
it's worse than Mocha's.
South Carolina, a lot of people. You got some people that are into this type of stuff. I'm one of the only people that I know of this stuff. They do a lot of hunting down there.
I'm more into the truth, education, knowledge, something that stimulates the brain. I mean, even comedy is entertaining. It's educational. It's laughter for the soul.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like to bring the diversity. And what you do on your show too, some of the guests you have. You got, actors, athletes. You have a very diverse, guest list. And as do
law enforcement coming on.
Yeah, law enforcement. And that's one thing that I've got. I think it's always too important to get the different perspectives.
I have the best horn player, teaches at the Met, a professor in it, 17 tours individually, solely to Japan. I mean, you go to an opera, you hear this guy play. I love opera. I really do. It's almost like angels' voices and angels' music. And you get, a guitar is one thing. When you blow into it, part of your soul is in there. This guy's terrific. He's going to be on. And I can't wait to have him. He just had back surgery. Nice man. We play poker together on Wednesdays. You might comment on that, but he was always gambling. So anyway.
You had another guy on your show from South Carolina, didn't you?
Who's that?
Myself.
Yeah. I spent 10 years there.
No, I'm saying you had me on your show.
Yeah, I was happy to have you. Tell the truth.
I never remember the first time I called you. I asked you, I said, "Is this Mr. Colombo?" You said, "Nope, you got the wrong number." I was like, wait a minute.
I don't want anybody call me Mr. Colombo, so I knew right away. Everybody calls me Chris. If you call me Mr. Colombo, I look for my father. I haven't come to grips that I'm 62. And I do like gabagool, guys.
No, I was saying that was funny because I tried a couple of times and I was like, South Carolina, you might not ever answer my number. And then that one day you did. And like you said, we kind of maintained a relationship, talking a couple of times a week.
I'm fond of you. I like, you do what you do. You don't hurt anybody, you tell the truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, very fun.
I don't see any scars from a lobotomy.
No, I ain't got much. You can see them if they were there. I ain't got a lot of hair.
There's initials I could give you, but that's not apply. Not applicable. So we're good. And you try to entertain, educate, and be honest with your audience. I hail that. Well, if they came to me about things I knew, personally, me, yes, I would rather see them make it right than having lobotomies and BJs running around.
Sounds like what you would really need to do something is creative control.
Well, let me tell you something. I had it on my TV show because I ended up going to jail for that's bad acting. Most people get at me, so I get time. But anyway, that's not the point. I beat all the counts in the trial. But
well, that was entertaining. Your TV show was entertaining.
Well, John Albert's going to come on. I've been trying to corner him. Here's a guy that's won, 50 Emmys. Sheila Evans got 26 Oscars. These are the people who introduced me. Peabody's up the kazoo. I think she got a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, it was amazing because what happened was Lyme disease, I get the side effects of Tourette's. That's why I'll go off and, But I was serious about the BJ lobotomy. Not the Lyme. That was premeditated, lucid, clear evaluation and to the point. It's an industry term. So anyway, point being, I would take a table for Tourette's. It's one of my things. I know the effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
So John Albert and Sean Evans did a documentary with these kids, and they were being honored. And the money was going for Tourette's, but I couldn't go. But I bought the table. She went, the most powerful woman in broadcasting, went and knocked on my judge's door and asked her, could she parole me to her in her custody for the night? And I had so much fun with the kids, and we had a ball.
That's amazing.
And I can empathize what they live with because I do. I could get mad and go on a tangent, not like the BJ lobotomy, because that is the truth. But my kids will they laugh when I do. Yeah, you realize what you just said?
Well, I think that's the key to being able to do things like that, because when I have guys on that's had stories of wrongful incarceration, thank God I didn't have to go through that, but I can empathize of, what mentally
Wait,
what
I'm
that
just
was
gonna say
like.
one thing. I'm never dating your wife, and I'm never coming to have drinks. If I even thought about it,
Well, you can still come for drinks.
I better get a vest.
Okay, we'll meet out.
Right.
Okay.
But however, you BJs, not an invitation. My doors are open. Don't hide behind a microphone and a thing. You just come on, you're just crazy and tough. No jobs. All that, it came to face a few days in jail, and you just crumbled like cowards. Let's take it out of the perspective. If these people were around Judas, who would they be? That's a question.
Judas.
Okay. If we were at war, what would they be?
With me in the foxhole.
Betraying their country. That's what they are. They're betrayers. There's a room full of children and it's burning down. Do you think they're saving them?
I don't. Every man for himself. I think that's how they would look at it.
There is no greater good, no hope, no love, no desire. And these people are blowjobs. And I don't know any other word.
I think you've made yourself clear, my friend.
And like I said, it's not an invitation. And I'm serious about the Russian roulette. I'm ready, I'm willing, and I'm able to rock and roll. When you get all the handicap you want, I have a valuable life. These are blowjobs. The lobotomy kid, he ain't got no shot in that game. He may shoot everybody loading the gun.
Oh,
And then confess.
I need a drink.
That's reasonable. But you're gonna do some interviews.
Yep.
Yeah. Wait, thank you for coming to my home.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor to have you.
Thank
Everybody there that follows crime and entertainment, and all the friends that I made in South Carolina. South Carolina was always second home to me. Ambitious. And great football state.
Oh yeah. Rivalry, Clemson, Carolina. Not so much with the Panthers right now, but
Well, listen,
we'll turn it around.
They'll come back.
Yeah, we'll turn it around.
I mean, look, Jacksonville had their time. Their Jaguars are doing bad. The Panthers did very well when you had
Newton.
Big Newton.
Yeah.
I teased that.
Right. We were that close to a Super
All
Bowl.
right, listen, it's football. Anything can happen.
Mhm.
You know, it's America's sport, and I hope to be able to educate the young and others how to not make it America's downfall economically. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, everybody keep in line, taking action with Chris Colombo. When you drop yours, Thursdays or Wednesdays?
Thursdays at 3:00. But the reason why is I use Don Best to start my line, and then I figure out it's the sharpest line.
Mhm.
He doesn't come out till Tuesday morning.
Right.
So I watch the moves and I do it Tuesday night. And maybe moves after that, but they're going to go in that direction.
Right.
Then it's up to them to do it. So I dropped for the Thursday night game.
Mhm.
Had there not been a Thursday night game, I might be later. I don't know, but I think it's a good day and a good start. So I give Thursday night, the weekend, and Monday. Got a little half hectic on Thanksgiving. I hoped it would have dropped at 12, but it was 10, but it ended up being 12:30. There's always technical problems.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you ain't telling me nothing. I don't know. But taking action from Chris Colombo every Thursday. You're going to keep rolling with interviews after the football season.
And Crime and Entertainment is my favorite podcast.
Thank you, my friend.
I tell it the way I see it. You know, you work at it. There's not a lot of money in it.
No.
You do it as a professional. You tell the truth. You come from a position where you know both sides of things. You know.
Unique position.
Yeah. And you're a hell of a shot. And not a messy one is the best. That's tough. You couldn't do that, Sammy. Oh, and Ubats, you don't even have the balls. You get a pair of balls, you got to make up stories that you're cutting them off. Like I said, not an invitation, but the Russian roulette, my doors are open. It's not an invitation, you're not welcome. But it's real easy to find me. Not that I want you to come, but if you want to come, I'm ready, I'm willing, and I'm able to rock and roll. And without a gun.
This is going to rock you too, pal.
I think so.
Oh, yeah.